Welcome to the Local Government Debates 2024, brought to you by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with JN Group. We'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie. Tonight, we focus on local government at work. Our moderator is George Davis.
Welcome to the second of two local government debates organized by the Jamaica Debates Commission. The debates are intended to assist in identifying, clarifying, and understanding the issues being presented in this local government election campaign. This evening's debate focuses on local government issues and is in the form of a team debate. We ask that you refrain from any clapping or cheering during the debate, except for now when we introduce the debaters. Our two teams tonight are, for the People's National Party, Andrew Swaby. Cian Barneswell. And Cadian Harty. And for the Jamaica Labour Party, Desmond McKenzie. Delroy Williams. And Richard Vernon. Members of the panel of questioners are Natalie Campbell from IRI FM and Arthur Hall from the Jamaica Observer. I am your moderator, George Davis. The guidelines for tonight's debates have been previously agreed and are posted at jamaicadebatescommission.com. The guidelines include that questions cannot be longer than 30 seconds. Each team is allowed 2 minutes to answer each question, and rebuttals are limited to 90 seconds. The moderator will have the latitude to raise follow-up questions for clarification only. Questioners are only allowed 2 follow-up questions to their primary question during the entire debate. Follow-up questions will be permitted at the discretion of the moderator. Now, where a follow-up question is asked, the team to which it's directed shall have 1 minute to answer. The other team is allowed 45 seconds to respond to the answer to a follow-up question. And where a follow-up question is asked, it shall not interrupt the sequence of questions posed to the respective debaters. The questions posed in tonight's debate are created solely by the panel and are not influenced by the Jamaica Debates Commission in any way. Now, in order to involve the wider public, we'll take questions from social media. These will be managed and presented by Ramon Gordon from CVM Television. Do send all your questions to us via direct message on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Jamaica Debates. All social media questions will be presented to both teams for their answer. You can also view the debates being streamed live on the Jamaica Debates Commission Facebook page. Now, arising from a coin toss earlier, Team JLP will make the opening statement, while Team PNP will make the final statement at the end of the debate. And now, the 2-minute opening statement from Team JLP.
Thank you. Greetings, my fellow Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora. We're happy that you could join us this evening. Team JLP is happy for this opportunity to separate facts from fiction. We trust that at the end, you will develop an even greater appreciation as to the roles and responsibilities of local authorities. In 2009, both parties developed a national development plan, effectively to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The JLP has activated that plan, but more importantly, has managed to localize the goals so that we could do projects and programs to develop you and your community. We have the facts to prove this. We have built 4 new fire stations, to improve your safety. Lives and properties have been saved. We have provided opportunities for over 60,000 youths. They are now able to access education and also to develop their resume and capacity development. We have improved and renovated and built over 100 community health centers to improve access to primary health care. In St. James alone, we have allocated some 3,000 business grants to small business operators to stimulate the local economy. We have also allocated some 9,000 education grants to improve access to education. Over 2,500 roads have been rehabilitated to provide access to your communities and the delivery of key services. We have done much, and we're committed to doing even more. As the good book says, we have the plans to prosper.
Thank you. That's your time. That's your time.
Vote JLP.
That's your time. Thank you. Thank you. May I invite Team PNP to make its opening statement? 2 minutes.
Imagine, just imagine, walking through the town of Maypen, no garbage pile, street light bright, drains clean, no congestion. That could be your reality with the People's National Party-led municipal corporation. Jamaicans, both locally and abroad, my opponents, good evening. Time come for change. Change for citizens' participation, healthy society, access to critical services, new vision for local government, garbage collection, economic opportunities for all. Local government is the fiber for Jamaicans. It impacts on your life. And with the People's National Party-led municipal corporation, we will ensure that you get quality service delivery. We'll make sure that our councillors and mayors are accountable in the way in which they perform. We will make sure that there's transparency in how your money is being spent. Standing beside me are two councillors in waiting. Listen to our vision as we share it with you with a view that it will impact on your life. Come election day, put the X beside the head and vote PNP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Team PNP. You'll have time on the clock, but that's fine. I invite Natalie Campbell from IRI FM to pose the first question of the evening, and that question shall be directed to Team JLP.
Good evening. Markets, cemeteries, and public order issues in town centers are the responsibility of municipal corporations. Please identify one cemetery, a market, and one town center in a corporation controlled by your party that you are proud of, approve of, and say why.
Well, I can focus, thanks for the question, I can focus our attention to Hanover, Hopewell in Hanover, brand new market that has been built, clean town, congested however, but it's a part of the overall development. The work is ongoing. I can take you to the town of Montego Bay. I can take you to the town of Otrius. There are several town centers across the country, which speaks volume to the work of the local authorities in terms of maintaining cleanliness within these town centers.
I'd also like to bring your attention to the Jubilee Market, which was recently completed in terms of its renovation. It was destroyed by fire about some 10, 12 years ago, was never restored. And we took the opportunity and committed ourselves to restoring it. The Jubilee Market is so well done now that most persons in and around the downtown area say that it should not remain the Jubilee Market, but we should call it the Jubilee Plaza because of how exquisite it is. And I invite everyone to take a look at it. It's really a very lovely space for a market space. for haberdashery market.
The Jamaica Labour Party believes that markets are vital to the economic livelihood of each municipality. And this is how, by building out all the markets in Jamaica, we are building you and your community.
Thank you. You wanted to ask a follow-up?
They were to identify a cemetery as well.
Well, public cemeteries, we can speak to the new public cemetery in Old Harbour that was established under this administration that provides burial, first-class burial. We can also make reference to the one in Mandeville also. We will agree with you that public cemeteries right across the country is in need of attention. And the government has announced a program, a comprehensive program to deal with the cleaning of public cemeteries across the country. The entire island will benefit from that program, which was announced by me in my sectorial presentation last year.
Thank you. May I invite Team PNP to rebut?
Our markets are in a deplorable condition. I would just say that, if I want to characterize it, they are dirty, they are stink. I'm a user of the market. I use the market at least 3 times per month. I go to Coronation Market, Minister, and it's in your constituency, and they are dirty. There's no bathroom facilities there. There's no potable waters there. And this is, while the mayor can speak to a Jubilee market, that was actually started by the People's National Party administration during the 2012 to 2016 period. And it's left a lot to be desired.
You're joking.
I'll just hand over now to Sian, who will speak to the cemetery issue.
The cemetery is out of space. I know that you are in trouble when trying to find a space for your loved one to be buried. The JLP administration has not even provided any other cemetery in any of the parishes. Clarendon is out of space. Senton is out of space. St. Mary is out of space. The trouble that you are now finding yourself with is where to rest your loved one. The People's National Party will work closely with the UDC, with NHT, with the Sugar Investment Unit to make sure that we have space to put our loved one to rest. The people are now being asked that if their property tax are not up to date.
Thank you for that. I invite Arthur to pose his first question of the evening. That question goes to Team PNP.
Good evening. More than 20 years ago, a PNP cabinet member, Arnold Bertram, proposed that we collapse the 13 municipalities into 5 regional municipalities, which would save on administrative costs and would be better able to manage local government affairs. The PNP administration, which Mr. Bertram served a part as, dropped that idea. The JLP administration has not picked it up. Would you say that that's an idea you'd consider?
The PNP consider that idea very much. We look at shared services in the legal department. We look at shared services in road construction. We look at shared services in how we do things differently as it relates to other administrative functions. The PNP think that the people of Jamaica need the support, and wherever we can get it. And that is why we look further by having what is called interagency network set up, where we have the agency head across the parish meet with the mayor of each parishes, where we looked at issues affecting the people of each parishes and how we can share ideas and resources to lessen these challenges. The PNP is for the people, and the PNP think that the people need to get what they need as it relates to services. So we have no problem in terms of shared services and group them in terms of regionalizing these shared services.
Certainly, the shared service that my colleagues spoke about a while ago have some benefits to it. And we believe that it's something that we can look at more and get more involved in. But clearly, the people want to be very much close to your representative. You want to be very much know that you can feel and touch your representative. You want to be in a position where you can say that this has been done by your representative, and it's something that we certainly will maintain.
And while we explore those ideas, we want to remind the public that this decision will not be taken by the People's National Party alone, but by consultation with you, the residents in various parishes, because that is what local government is all about, inclusion.
Thank you, Team PNP. Arthur, I acknowledge your need for a rebuttal, but for a follow-up question, but that can only come after the rebuttal. From Team JLP, I invite you now.
You know, I am a little bit puzzled of the response of the PNP in regards to the question. Consultations were held on that concept, and right across, it was not accepted because people did not believe that this was a perfect way to go in treating with local government. The system of local government that we presently enjoy is a system that has worked and a system that will continue to work. The Jamaica Labour Party has shown that with proper management of the system, we can and we continue to get things done. It is quite clear that the objective of that was to marginalize local government in a way that would strangle the survival of local government. The system that we have has been tried, tested, and proven.
And I would say that before you move to look at and introduce other systems, you have to ensure that you put all the resources in your current system to ensure that your current system works. It's not that the current system doesn't work, it's that there are some resource constraints.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Arthur, you want to use your follow-up, or you?
Yeah, I did not get an answer from the PNP, though. Is the People's National Party still supporting the idea of collapsing the 14 municipal corporations into 5 regional bodies, or is that something that the People's National Party has scrapped? That's a question that you never addressed.
I'm sorry about that. We will continue with the present system, and we're even looking at having the municipal corporation being expanded as it relates to the Portman municipal system. We're looking at that. So the PNP think that having the municipal corporations as is good in terms of how it interact, how it serve the people of Jamaica. And so we have not been looking back at having the system collapse in terms of regionalizing the municipal corporations across Jamaica.
But at the same time, we believe that we should merge some of the share some of the resources. For example, the recent thing about the legal services, you can regionalize those legal services, issues like that. But for the actual day-to-day activities, no, we're not looking at that.
All right, thank you. Ramon Gordon is on social media duties for us. Ramon Gordon of CVM TV. Ramon, what do you have for us?
Now, this question is from Zoe in St. Andrew. They ask, when can we expect the construction of a dam by the parish council to ensure adequate water supply to the corporate area during the summers? Also, what specific plans are in place to address issues like inadequate garbage collection, unreliable public transportation, and sewage problems in urban areas?
Team JLP, I invite you to make the first response.
Okay, the question of water. There is a major water project being undertaken by the National Water Commission that will be bringing water into the corporate area. We all know that the water supply systems into the corporate area is undervalued. And so the government has started a comprehensive program to bring water into the city. That have started already with a massive improvement to the system coming in from St. Catherine into the corporate area. And this system will be expanded right across Kingston and St. Andrew. The other issue of sewage, and I want to make the point, is that the sewage system in the corporate area is very old. And over the years, we have had developments and no improvement has taken place as it relates to our sewage system. What this administration is doing, where there are new developments, new roads being put down, we are putting in proper sewage system to meet the needs of a growing corporate area, and that will take some time.
You have aged sewage lines. They are mainly made out of clay material. Those you have to replace with PVC, which the NWC has started. They have started some work in the downtown area, but the government is investing heavily into replacing those age lines. Also, with respect to the water situation, the government has announced that there is a major project to be undertaken that will bring water to the entire Kingston metropolitan area. So in a few years, the water issues in the Kingston metropolitan area will be resolved.
And the question about garbage collection, let me say that the National Solid Waste Management Authority...
I have to call time. The time is up. Time is up. TMKMP, your response?
On the issue of garbage collection, your experience is that your garbage is taking more than 2 weeks to be collected, even though the minister and the JLP will brag about having few trucks, 50 trucks. This obviously causes, in some cases, rat infestation, maggots in your rubbish at home. We believe that the National Solid Waste Management Authority should return to its core function of being a regulatory body. We also believe that the operation should return to the local authority. I'll ask my colleague to speak to other issues raised.
I see where this administration, that's the Jamaica Labour Party administration, going around building what is called water shop, where people are still walking with water on their head from the source to home. With the People's National Party administration, we will improve the minor water supply system using technology in terms of solar energy to power these pumps and the chlorination system, and even pipe the water from the minor water supply system to the residents' home. We have done it before in Clarendon, in Smithville. We have done it before in Pleasant Valley, and we intend to continue that process. As it relates to transportation, we have started by forging partnership with the Ministry of Transportation in providing what is called safe school bus for the students of Clarendon. The students in South Clarendon would have benefited from the use of the JUTC buses. Not only do they attend or reach school safely, but the cost for them to reach school allows them to be at school every day. And this comes from partnership and consultation with the teachers, the principal, the students, and the parents for us to implement such things so that our students can be safe as they travel to school. So the People's National Party believe in safety. The People's National Party believe in comfort. The People's National Party believe that time comes for people to have a good and quality life.
Thank you very much. Right on time. Well, we now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned to this local government debate, the second in a series of two.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Ever had a conversation with your past self? Looking back at all the things you did right. The best thing I ever did was saving with that JN individual retirement scheme. That was genius, because retirement will last longer than people think. Good thing I start from early, so now I have the funds to enjoy some freedom. Oh, by the way, I should have taken more pictures while I still had hair upon my head. Yeah man, I did good, bro.
Do your future a favor. Contact JN Life and ask about the JN Individual Retirement Scheme today.
There's a clear vision for our company and our role in Jamaica's economy. Here at Petrojam, we remain true to our mandate, serving Jamaica's energy needs reliably and competitively. We know all things are connected and life is always unfolding, and so our focus has always been on a fundamental element, the human element. It's the element that drives our commitment to our valued customers, that fuels Jamaica's energy security. Petrojam, building our nation, touching lives.
The Jamaica Debates Commission is a proud founding member of Debates International, which brings together national political debates organizations from around the world to share best practices and experience. With passport, hand luggage, and laptops in hand, we went abroad. And boy, have we been sharing and helping all around the world. Washington, Peru, Kenya, Burundi, Niger, Malawi, East East Timor, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Morocco, Ghana, Tunisia, the Gambia, and Jordan. Closer to home, we've done missions in Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, St. Kitts and Nevis, Curacao, St. Lucia, Belize, Barbados, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. The Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Lasco Chin Foundation, helping hands for a better Jamaica.
Why should we be interested in local government?
Local government forms that part of the public administration which is closest to our everyday activities and existence. The roads we walk or drive on, the markets in which we buy our supplies, the barbershops and hairdressing salons in which we obtain services, and the drains and gullies which form part of our community. These are all the responsibility of local government authorities to maintain and or monitor.
Sweet, sweet Jamaica. More than just beaches and sea, Jamaica. We talk about the heart of Jamaica. The Miss Birdie bun and cheese during Easter. The jerk man pan the corner. Cold stove, a bun the coconut drops. Domino and leg for 6. Pop, pop, pop. Wash up your heart with jelly water, cool and nice. Catch the daylight while the sun high. Ah. Sweet, sweet Jamaica. Old or young, it don't matter. Just know we're there for one another. Country or town, we don't care where you went. As Jamaicans, we know that love is the best ingredient.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with JN Group. We'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 2 local government debates presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote. If you're just joining us, welcome. We invite Natalie Campbell to start this segment with a question for Team PNP.
Good evening again. Would you consider increasing market fees to raise funds for the upkeep of markets, a number of which, as you said earlier, are in a bad state?
Increasing fees for market vendors is not something the People's National Party is considering, because the present market houses are not fully equipped to create that level of harmony, peace, safety in doing business. The markets first need to be rehabilitated to deal with in terms of how people do business inside there. And the People's National Party believe in having the markets so structured that it makes it easy for vendors and shoppers to use. Same. The People's National Party has been looking at markets across the length and breadth of Jamaica with a view of upgrading, not similarly to what do exist, but make it the one which people can come, where vendors, especially the women who are the most users within the market, can do so in terms of the public sanitary convenience with dignity. So we have to be looking at these markets to make sure that we provide adequate sanitary convenience. So increasing market fees at this time, we have to do more for the people who uses the market, and particularly the vendors. We need to look at how they keep their goods there at the market. Many often, when you have a fire, these vendors would have been affected. So the People's National Party will be looking at how do we protect the users of the market in the case of a fire. We need to also look at, do we have the proper requisite at the market house? For example, a fire extinguisher. Do we have areas where the vendors will leave from rural Jamaica to the markets to sell and to overnight to the next day? How do we accommodate them at the market? Do we have cold storage at the market for perishable items? So we need to put in some infrastructure before we can think about increase the market fee, which is woefully inadequate at this time. So the PNP is looking at the market holistically as it relates to what needs to be done to make it modern, to make it a modern market for the people who utilize it, in particularly our women who are the most users of our markets.
Thank you, Team PNP. I invite the JLP to rebut.
The Jamaica Labour Party stands proud on its record of improving, building out new markets since 2016. We have built the Clarkstown market, the Hopewell market. We have done significant work on the Brownstown market. We are spending, as I speak now, in excess of $100 million on the market in Savlamar. The proposed market for Negril has run into roadblock because the PNP-controlled municipal council in Westmoreland have placed a stumbling block in the development of that new market. I just announced recently a program to rebuild the Highgate market using modern technology in terms of the development of the market. The Social Development Commission did a survey asking vendors and the general public what would they like to see in their markets. And the new Highgate market will have features such as what was captured in the survey that was conducted by the SDC. We are going to be spending a significant amount of money to improve the conditions of the sanitary facilities across the markets. That money will be sent to the municipal corporations to undertake massive cleaning and upgrading of the sanitary facilities.
Thank you, thank you. Whereas I got a direct answer from the PNP to the question, and then Mr. Barneswell went further, I didn't get a direct answer from you to the question.
Well,
about market fees and raising them.
The question is, and let us be fair, if you want to offer service in the markets, then you must consider looking at the existing rates that they are operating under, because these rates go back as far as 20, 25 years ago. So is it a question that we want the good service? Are we not prepared to pay for those services? These are considerations. And these are issues that the PNP mayors have sat in meetings at the ministry to discuss and have agreed.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that.
Fees.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you for the direct answer. I invite Arthur to ask a question of Team JLP.
Good afternoon again. There are increasing louder whispers that the developers submit one plan to the KSSE or to the municipal corporations and build something different. So they will submit a plan for single bedrooms and build 2 and 3 bedrooms. But to compound the matter is the state of developments that are taking place without any approval from the municipal corporations in our waterways, in our environmentally suspect areas. What is your party's plan to deal with these unstructured developments that are taking place across the island?
Well, firstly, I mean, we are not aware of any great number of development taking place like that. There are people who develop without going through the application process. And those persons, there is in law an arrangement to deal with that. There is in law something that is referred to as an as-built application. So whenever we come across those, we carry them through that process where they still have to submit the plans. We review the plans, and if the structural integrity of the plan is fine, then we process it. However, with respect to the other part that you use premise before you ask that, is that the plans that are submitted, there are 2 parts to the development approval process. There is a pre-approval process and there is a post-approval process. What you're referencing now is the post-approval process. We have introduced multiple measures to address that. For example, we have now put in place an inspection regime that allows us to inspect at each construction stage, each stage of construction work. So the developer cannot proceed to the next stage unless an inspection is done and a certificate of compliance is issued. Then we have also introduced multiple officers doing inspections. And we are also coordinating inspections with other agencies. So I would say there are weaknesses in both the pre- and the post-approval process. But those weaknesses we have been addressing, we have been strengthening the development approval process, and I believe we are getting somewhere with that process.
And the new Building Act provides the background for enforcement. So the new Building Act will tie in to the efforts that are being made to strengthen the system that presently exists, which we understand exists.
Thank you. Thank you. Team PNP, I invite your rebuttal.
It is a real and recurring problem. It is no secret that when developers sometimes get approval for one thing, they end up building another. But what this speaks to is the shortcomings of the municipal corporation and specifically the technical department. What is happening across the municipal corporations is that our technical departments are severely understaffed. And that poses a problem with enforcement issues that the municipal corporations must carry out. And so we propose investing in our human resource at the municipal corporation so that we have enough officers to do the right level of inspection and to do the right level of enforcement.
We also believe in separation of duties. It cannot be the same person who is recommending for the building approval is the same person who is required to do the enforcement. There goes the conflict of interest. We believe that, as my colleague has indicated earlier, that you widen it in terms of building approval. In the case of KSAMC, there are only 5 to 8 building officers for the entire Kingston St. Andrew. That is woefully inadequate. And we believe that some of the funds that we have achieved from the new fees should certainly plug back into the department.
All right. Thank you, Team PNP. We turn to social media for another question. Ramon?
This question is from Carlos on Instagram. He asks, considering the recent earthquakes in the region, the question has been raised. What progress has Jamaica made in aligning its disaster risk reduction policies with the objectives of the Sendai framework? Also, what strategies is the country prioritizing for future work in this regard?
Thank you, Ramon. I invite Team PNP to take that question first.
The People's National Party takes the safety of our citizens very seriously. And with Jamaica being exposed to hurricane, and recently we have experienced earth tremor, the People's National Party believes that the system or the agency, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, will or should notify the citizens promptly on any eventuality. The People's National Party think that these agencies need to be fully equipped, not only with staffing, but other resources for them to be effectively carry out their work. The PNP think that the agencies or the staff of these agencies need to work freely without any encumbrances or any interference from the political administration. Recently, we have noticed that the ODPEM took some time before they could issue a release to the people as it relates to the recent earthquake tremor, because the cabinet need to first analyze the statement issued to ODPEM for them to make a report. We believe that these officers, these staff persons in these critical services need to be independent of the political administration.
We believe we should make communities more resilient to these disasters. For example, we should, in terms of land slippages, we should educate persons about deforestation. We believe also that our gullies that should be clean to make sure that water can run freely. We also believe that in terms of our building practices, for example, the whole thing about the concrete jungle, the water cannot seep into the ground. These are some things that we can do to make sure that we achieve this.
All right. Thank you, Team PNP. Team JLP, your rebuttal.
Your
response to that question, rather. Sorry.
I want to respond to this question. The caller spoke about our standing with the Sendai framework. I am proud to stand here tonight to say that Jamaica is one of the few countries that have met the benchmark for the Sendai framework. Jamaica's contribution to disaster preparedness speaks volume. We were the first country outside of the Americas to host a regional Disaster Risk Conference. Jamaica is the headquarters of regional disaster developments for the region, including Haiti and the Turks and Caicos Islands. The question of warning for earthquake. Let me say this. There is no system that can predict an earthquake. You can only respond to an earthquake after. The Office of Disaster Preparedness have been doing a good job. Sensitizing, town hall meetings have been held right across the country to sensitize Jamaicans about the dangers that we face, because Jamaica is in the top tier of a disaster risk country based on where we are located. So the question about interference in the operations and that the cabinet had to see, first of all, we responded in the approved time that an organization or a country should respond when there is an earthquake. We did that within 35 minutes of that earthquake. So this argument that is being put forward, I want to dismiss it as mischief.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie, for Team JLP. Thank you very much. We will now take another short break and invite you to stay tuned. We have much, much more ground to cover this evening.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
There's a clear vision for our company and our role in Jamaica's economy. Here at Petrojam, we remain true to our mandate, serving Jamaica's energy needs reliably and competitively. We know all things are connected and life is always unfolding, and so our focus has always been on a fundamental element, the human element. It's the element that drives our commitment to our valued customers, that fuels Jamaica's energy security. Petrojam, building our nation, touching lives.
JN Bank Small Business Loans is linked to so many stories of ordinary Jamaicans and their extraordinary success.
We're very proud to have helped small, medium, and micro businesses come to life and thrive over the years.
It's a demonstration of our strong belief in the business ambitions of Jamaicans
and how we believe in JN Bank Small Business Loans.
Come, talk to us. Tell us your business. Let's start a partnership and let your business plans appear in real life.
Did you know you can vote without your new voter ID card? Once you're registered to vote, that is, your name is on the voters list, you can vote in the upcoming local government election. If you don't have your new ID card, simply go to your polling station on election day and our trained election day workers will assist you. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Office of Jamaica.
Sweet, sweet Jamaica. More than just beaches and sea, Jamaica. We talk about the heart of Jamaica. The Miss Birdie bun and cheese during Easter. The jerk man pan the corner. Cold stove, a bun the coconut drops. Domino a leg for 6. Pop, pop, pop. Wash off your heart with jelly water, cool and nice. Catch the daylight while the sun high. Ah. Sweet, sweet Jamaica. Old or young, it don't matter. Just know we're there for one another. Country or town, we don't care where you went. As Jamaicans, we know that love is the best ingredient.
Lasco Chin Foundation, helping hands for a better Jamaica.
The Jamaica Debates Commission is a proud founding member of Debates International, which brings together national political debates organizations from around the world to share best practices and experience. With passport, hand luggage, and laptops in hand, we went abroad. And boy, have we been sharing and helping all around the world. Washington, Peru, Kenya, Burundi, Niger, Malawi, East Timor, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Morocco, Ghana, Tunisia, the Gambia, and Jordan. Closer to home, we've done missions in Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, St. Kitts and Nevis, Curacao, St. Lucia, Belize, Barbados, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. The Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with JN Group. We'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 2 local government debates being facilitated by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote. If you're just joining us, welcome. I invite Natalie Campbell to start this segment with a question for Team JLP.
Permits are granted by the corporations for the staging of events and for new constructions, some with little to no parking, which worsens traffic congestion in many towns. If your party is given another opportunity to control the councils, what will you do differently to address the issues that arise with the granting of such permits?
The Jamaica Labour Party believes in the progressive nature of our people. From time to time, they want to keep their events, and we have to facilitate it. But granting permits goes through a process, and it involves a partnership, multiple agencies looking at how to grant these permits. For example, in St. James, what we have done is when we get an application for a permit, we send it to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, National Solid Waste Management Authority, Public Health, and other entities to ensure that they grant the approval before we give the final approval for these permits. When we have done that, we get the information from them to see that these entities are okay with the level of compliance coming from the promoter. Now, in terms of parking, in St. James, we are looking at the capacity, because we are a government that we don't just get up and do things because we feel like we want to do something. We work with data. So what we're gathering right now is the data to look at what is happening in our space and to put in place the appropriate amount of parking spaces within that space in Montego Bay so we can facilitate larger events. Recently, we had the popular Sumfest, and we cleared an area to facilitate parking in that space. So we are doing the work. We're ensuring that even if you want to keep an event, we facilitate you in such a way that we build you and your community.
The permit also, depending on the event and the capacity that we anticipate the event to host, there is a process that goes through. We should involve, in many cases, meeting with the police and meeting with other agencies, ODPEM, fire, and the police always ensure that, with respect to parking, that the requirements are satisfied before approval is given. And usually, in most cases, the police are also at the event monitoring the parking situation. So depending on the capacity of the event, how many persons will be there is a separate process for it.
Thank you very much, Mr. I invite Team PNP. There you go. I invite Team PNP to begin its rebuttal.
Events will happen, and we are all for local economic development here with the People's National Party. The traffic mayhem that we experience in our townships and our communities, let's not mince words, that's the falling down of our municipal corporations. The lack of sustainable planning. The fact that we have been approving building plans, whether residential or commercial or otherwise, without the necessary infrastructure to accommodate these, has caused a major issue with regard to traffic in our townships. And so we don't believe that our promoters should actually feel the blunt of this. And so there are requirements that we would want promoters to satisfy to have events, and that would, of course, be the major one, alternative sources or places for parking, so that when we're having events, the motoring public does not find an issue with getting by.
Places of amusement is one of the municipal corporation main revenue earner. But we believe that the small promoters need to have a space to have their event. And the PNP believe in zoning of places of amusement.
Thank you, Mr. Barnesworth, for Team PNP. You indicated no, but I can't give you a follow-up on Natalie's question.
Natalie's question.
It's a follow-up on your question, not Natalie's question. So I press on and I invite you, Arthur Hall, to pose a question to Team PNP.
The Local Government Act of 2016, Section 21, subsection E, lists among the functions of the municipal authorities the protection of all districts and communities for environmental protection. Yet we see a number of developments taking place across the island. We see members of parliament and councillors at opening of these developments, but the Jamaicans have never seen an environmental impact assessment of what these developments are going to be. And yet you are all there celebrating, and we don't know the impact this will have on the environment.
Again, Jamaican, the people believe in you. Citizens' participation. And what we will do is to make sure that a sign is erected at the proposed location. We will make sure that the functions as it relates to these massive development, before it commences, that the environment impact assessment is done, that the residents are aware, that they are consulted, that they participate in town hall meetings before these developments come into stream. The PNP will take into account your concerns, and we will ensure that it is accounted for.
And to make it abundantly clear, we are pro-development, but we will never, ever find ourselves in the pockets of developers.
I just want to go back to a question that speaks to the regulations. The JLP administration will brag about the new codes. And yes, new codes were done in 2019. But 4 years after, we haven't yet seen the regulation. And just let me explain to you what the regulation is. Anywhere in terms of the codes and the act, if it is silent on a particular issue, the code is supposed to address that. In terms of the notification that my colleague spoke about earlier, is that it should have been posted long before the approval was given. The intent should have been given. And the local authority should be constantly monitoring, whereby making sure that you, our residents, know that this is the intent of the developer.
Thank you, Mr. Swaby, for Team PNP. I invite the JLP to report.
You know, I am amazed with the comments of the PNP. I heard the ignorance the other night, and I'm now coming back to hear the same. They're talking about regulations. They were the ones that introduced the 3 acts that governs local government. They started the process of the Building Act, which we completed. I don't know if they understand that all the clauses that existed in the previous act before were saved. So there's no need for regulations for any of these new pieces of legislation. What is required is to expand and to strengthen what existed before. So this argument, it is telling us that here is a party that speaks a lot, do not understand what they are saying because it was under their watch that these new bits of our legislation came into being, and all of the regulations that existed prior has been saved in the new act that is we are now operating under. So I do not understand, and I want to dismiss tonight this argument and ask them to go back and to do the research to find out exactly
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Thank you, Mr. McKenzie, for Team JLP. I turn to social media again. Ramon, you have another question for us?
Yes, we have a question from Andre in St. Anne who asks, given the considerable advancement in technology, have municipalities explored solar streetlights for communities, and to what extent?
I invite Team JLP to respond.
Well, we have started the program at the municipality, at the KSAMC. We have been introduced solar streetlights to many areas across the municipality, primarily rural areas. There are sections of Lawrence Tavern, Brandon Hill. There are some areas within the Papine division that we have been using solar lights. We have also been using it to lit parks and courts, basketball courts and netball courts. So we have started that, and that program will gather momentum as we go along. On the central government level, there also is a consideration of beginning in a very careful way to introduce solar lights as part of the grid. But that requires some careful consideration so that you don't cause unnecessary disruption. But I would like to reiterate the point that Minister made with respect to the regulations. We all know as councillors that the regulations were not abandoned when the Building Act came into force. The regulations remain in force. And secondly, I can't understand, so we don't understand that an environmental impact assessment is done for developments of a certain magnitude. That is clear, that is in law, it is done. So I don't understand what we're saying. Environmental impact assessments are done for developments of a certain nature. That is what the law requires, and it is done. Well, I could take the time because there was something else I wanted to address. It's the issue of the Jubilee market. I didn't get the chance to address it. The Jubilee market, there was nothing done to restore the Jubilee market under the previous administration. We took it from the stage of design, funding, and we carried it right through procurement and implementation. So it is dishonest to say that the renovation of the Jubilee market started under the PNP.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for Team JLP. Thank you very much, Team PNP. And I remind you of the question. The question concerns solar streetlights and the PNP's plan to implement those, and to what extent.
Before I answer that question, I just want to go back to the regulation just for a minute. Because my recollection that in 2016, in this same debate, the minister at the time is still a minister, and he criticized the PNP for not having the regulations. Those three strategic laws were passed in February, and they have a change of government. And the minister have been the minister for the last 8 years, and to date we haven't had it. In terms of the solar street lights, I'm flabbergasted. This is the first time as a councillor, and I'm sure other councillors that are hearing about these solar street lights, is the first time. It is an issue that certainly it will help. For the last 3 years, I've been talking about in the council, about the gateway to the cities, the Slurflower Glasspool Boulevard, the Michael Manley Boulevard, Spanish Town, Marcus Garvey Drive. Over 200 lights are out. How can the mayor stand here today and tell us about solar street light where that doesn't exist?
The Jamaica Public Service, where there is no Jamaica Public Service power line, in rural Jamaica, the streets are very dark. The citizens are concerned about their safety as they traverse the roadway to and from work or their lawful business. The PNP will install solar street light in those areas where there is no JPS power supply. We have started it. For example, in Newtown Phase 2 here is in my division. We have lit an entire corridor with solar power lights. So we know the advantage that will bring to the residents. We know the safety concerns will be addressed by those solar street lights. So installing solar street lights.
Thank you, Mr. Barneswell. Thank you, Mr. Barneswell, for Team PNP. We have to take the break now. When we come back, our final segment in this debate. Stay tuned.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
JN Bank Small Business Loans is linked to so many stories of ordinary Jamaicans and their extraordinary success.
We're very proud to have helped small, medium, and micro businesses come to life and thrive over the years.
It's a demonstration of our strong belief in the business ambitions of Jamaicans.
And how we believe in JN Bank Small Business Loans.
Come, talk to us. Tell us your business. Let's start a partnership and let your business plans appear in a real life.
There's a clear vision for our company and our role in Jamaica's economy. Here at Petrojam, we remain true to our mandate, serving Jamaica's energy needs reliably and competitively. We know all things are connected and life is always unfolding, and so our focus has always been on a fundamental element, the human element. It's the element that drives our commitment to our valued customers, that fuels Jamaica's energy security. Petrojam, building our nation, touching lives.
Sweet, sweet Jamaica. More than just beaches and sea, Jamaica. We talk about the heart of Jamaica. The Miss Birdie bun and cheese during Easter. The jerkman pan the corner. Cold stove, a bun the coconut drops. Domino and leg for 6. Pop, pop, pop. Wash off your heart with jelly water, cool and nice. Catch the daylight while the sun high. Ah, sweet, sweet Jamaica. Old or young, it don't matter. Just know we're there for one another. Country or town, we don't care where you went. As Jamaicans, we know that love is the best ingredient.
Why should we be interested in local government?
Local government forms that part of the public administration which is closest to our everyday activities and existence. The roads we walk or drive on, the markets in which we buy our supplies, the barbershops and hairdressing salons in which we obtain services, and the drains and gullies which form part of our community. These are all the responsibility of local government authorities to maintain and or monitor.
Lasco Chin Foundation, helping hands for a better Jamaica.
Did you know you can vote without your new voter ID card? Once you're registered to vote, that is, your name is on the voters list, you can vote in the upcoming local government election. If you don't have your new ID card, simply go to your polling station on election day and our trained election day workers will assist you. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Office of Jamaica.
The Jamaica Debates Commission is a proud founding member of Debates International, which brings together national political debates organizations from around the world to share best practices and experience. With passport, hand luggage, and laptops in hand, we went abroad. And boy, have we been sharing and helping all around the world. Washington, Peru, Kenya, Burundi, Niger, Malawi, East Timor, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Morocco, Ghana, Tunisia, the Gambia, and Jordan. Closer to home, we've done missions in Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, St. Kitts and Nevis, Curacao, St. Lucia, Belize, Barbados, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. The Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
The Local Government Debates 2024 are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission in association with JN Group. We'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the second in a series of 2 local government debates presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote. If you're just joining us, well, you're in time for the final segment. Welcome nonetheless. I invite Natalie Campbell to start this final segment with a question for Team PNP.
Imagine a scenario where sewage is flowing through a market or transport center or any such problem. This is visible for all to see. The vendors complain, taxi operators complain, no action. It takes days or weeks even for the corporations to respond. Is this an indication that the councils are not paying attention to what's happening? What are you telling Jamaicans this evening?
You don't have to imagine that. It's happened in reality. A few months ago, downtown, matter of fact, it still exists downtown, where sewage have been running along the streets. I personally have gone down there, have to step in over blocks to get over the road. And yet, the mayor and the KCMC, under his leadership, remain silent on that. The mayor has some awesome powers. He could have called in National the National Water Commission and deal with the problem. It took about 3 weeks before some response was given. You don't have to believe that. This certainly we could have had an outbreak of disease. Disease is downtown. The vendors, you have to hold your breath about the situation. So it's not an imagination. It actually happened, and it happened now. Yet the mayor earlier on, or the minister, bragged about the sewage is the best in the corporate era. In his own constituency, you have these issues.
Before I respond to the sewage flowing, fact checked about Thetford Cemetery. It was done under the People's National Party administration in 2015. But let us look at the sewage. But let us look at the sewage flow.
Order. Team PNP has the floor.
But let us look at the sewage flowing across in our markets. Let us look at the sewage flowing in our markets, where people have to buy food. It is not safe for residents to be buying food in those markets. What we would have done, or what we will do, is to close down the market and get it rectified as soon as possible, within 2 days, work night and day to get it resolved. That's what the PNP will do to get it resolved, because the safety of the citizens, the safety of the vendors, the safety of the shoppers are important. The interagency network, which we have started in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, would have resolved these issues, because we'd have all the agencies one place having that conversation, how we resolve
Thank you,
issues
Mr. Barneswell. Thank you, Mr. Barneswell, for Team PNP. I invite Team JLP to rebut.
Well, firstly, let me speak to the issue. It's kind of funny, because when you look at how the PNP is speaking, they are speaking as if they're new. They have never been there. No. Let's look at the issue of garbage. They did not hand over a single garbage truck to the NSWMA during their tenure before we took control in 2016. We handed over 100 trucks under our administration and 50 additional trucks coming. So the administration that didn't hand over a single truck to the NSWMA is lecturing us on garbage collection. I say no. The PNP also didn't do a single thing about the replacement of aged sewer lines across the municipality. These sewer lines are aged, they are clay sewer pipes, and they needed to have been replaced. They did nothing. We are the ones who have been doing it. And to say that we haven't done anything and the mayor didn't do anything shows that the councillor is not even aware of what is taking place in the municipality. That he said, we went on many visits with the Minister Matthew Samuda, with Minister Mackenzie. We went on many visits with the NWC, putting in temporary measures to ease the situation, while at the same time asking local central government to reallocate funds and go through the process of procurement to address it. We have addressed it.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for Team JLP. Your time is up. I invite Arthur Hall to pose a question to Team JLP.
When we had the dengue outbreak last year, the Prime Minister announced money to 63 members of Parliament to clear gullies and drains. The Prime Minister has also announced a $40 billion Spark program, which will go through members of Parliament to fix roads in their constituencies. Is the JLP sidelining the councillors and reducing their roles to nothing more than bagmen?
No, because the discussions around the road. Let me just quickly say, there are over 22,000 kilometers of road network across the country. The local authorities have responsibility for about 15,000 of those kilometers. The meeting to look at how the program will be administered, that committee is chaired by me. And we have been meeting. The road network is the road network of the local authorities. And it is not going to be left for the mayor or the MP to make that decision on the Spark program. That will be done following consultations with the community, where the community will have an input as to how the roads are fixed. So it is a join-up approach that will be taken using both central and local government in the process to address. This is the first time in the history of Jamaica that any government has been bold enough to come forward with an idea like this. And this is a part of the concept of a government that understands and a government who has been listening to the call of the people as it relates to community roads.
The Sparks program speaks to the central issue within local government, community participation and partnering with community. It's a good example, a good model to look at, because this program will involve not just the MPs and the councillors, but also the residents. So it's really a coordinated effort in terms of making the decision as to which roads will be repaired. And so I think this is a really good model in terms of local government in Jamaica.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for Team JLP. Left some time on the clock there. Team PNP, I invite your rebuttal.
It reminds me of 1986, when the Jamaica Labour Party gutted the roles and responsibility of the People's National Party. It reminds me of 2007, when the Jamaica Labour Party removed local government as a ministry to a department. And to stand here and hear my colleagues supporting the Minister of Local Government, taking away the responsibility again. Yes, your responsibility for us to fix your roads, and giving it to members of parliament to rehabilitate, to reconstruct your community roads. I know the citizens in Newtown Phase 2 who complains every day about Queens Highway. The resolution was done. It was sent to the minister from 2016. But then again, the minister don't believe in local government. And that is why they're giving the money to members of parliament to rehabilitate community roads. $40 billion given to members of parliament. Before that, there was some 40 or nearly $100 million were given to members of parliament to fix community roads.
And it is interesting to note that maybe over 70% of our roadways within our country are community roads. It is a blatant disregard for the local authority and the councillors that serve the local authority and serve you.
Earlier on, the minister spoke to the marginalization of local government. This minister is marginalization.
Thank you, Mr. Swaby. Thank you, Mr. Swaby. I turn to Ramon Gordon again from CVM TV, who's managing our social media platform. You have another question for us, Ramon?
Our final question this evening, George, is from Winston Barrett from Kingston. He asks, why has the KSA allowed illegal vending to overrun residential areas? What are your plans to address this concern?
I invite Team PNP to respond.
I didn't hear that question quite well.
The question concerns why has the KSA MC allowed illegal vending to overrun residential areas?
That's an interesting question. And it speaks to political will. The mayor wants to be a good guy. He's afraid to take tough decisions. It's all about education, Mayor. It's all about having discussion with the vendors. They play a vital role, but you cannot allow vendors to just all over the city. You can zone areas for vending, and we have done that at the KSAFC. But what you have done, Mayor, you have put a blind eye to some of these issues that is running down our communities.
What is needed, and it's in the Local Governance Act, that needs to be adhered and acted on. It's called the Business Improvement District. And that Business Improvement District is working close with business communities in how to improve the community space in the town centers to facilitate these vendors. In Maypen, we have a similar run of vendors across the town centers, not only in the parish capital, but across the parish. And what we did was to engage the business communities and get them involved in our ideas as it relates to how we can lessen and make it easy for communities to traverse and to do business comfortably and in safety. And what we did, and I can remember this project, where a vendor approached me and said to me, talk to Mr. Tom to use his property to create a business. And what we did was to talk to the property owner, and we did a refurbishing of containers and moved the vendors from the street, and that place is called the Container Arcade. So the PNP has been doing things. The PNP will keep doing things to make it lessen for persons to move around and find spaces with the business community so that these vendors can be able to sell and vend in safety without any encumbrance to the citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Barneswell, for Team PNP. Team JLP, your response?
I just want to say, listening to this argument about vending, and we agree that vending is a problem on the road. How can the PNP speak about vending when markets that were built to facilitate vendors have been leased to a PNP councillor in Yalas for over 21 years, but yet the vendors are allowed to sit at the gate and can't enter the market? You go to White House in Westmoreland, where the market in White House in Westmoreland was leased to a gentleman. He's paying $7,000 a year to the municipal corporation and is renting one shop for $10,000 a month. Little London in Westmoreland, the vendors are on the street while the market is being used to build headstone, to put on tombs. They can't speak about vending because they do not have that moral authority to speak about vending, because they have not improved our market district across this country in all the years that they are there. So they have no moral authority to speak on vending.
And it's not true to say that we don't allow vending in residential areas. If once we are notified and we take action, we take enforcement action, sometimes it takes time to rid the residential area of the vending practice because it requires a certain level of consistency. So you do it, the vendors go back after 2 weeks, you have to continue again. So it takes some time sometimes. But to say that the mayor is afraid to address the issue of vending, that can't be true. That can't be true.
And BID is not for communities, it's for business districts.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've had so many questions coming through on social media that I'm going to try to squeeze in another one. Ramon, do you have one more for me?
We have one more from Barry S. on Instagram, who asks, while urban areas continue to develop rapidly, what considerations are municipal authorities making to ensure sustainable building practices which binds developers to standards such as planning for roads, fiber optics, green spaces, all before construction begins?
I'll ask Team JLP to take that one first.
The building approval process, there are conditions for building approval, and within those conditions there are some elements that are clearly outlined in the conditions of approval. For one, the rainwater harvesting methods, those have to be in, especially when you're dealing with multi-family developments, those are conditions of approval. So most of what is mentioned in the question are incorporated in the conditions of approval, and we ensure that those are incorporated in the implementation or construction of the building. So I would say those are incorporated in the conditions of approval at the municipality. I would just like to go back to something that was said, though, because it's critical. Because what is being said is that the 20 billion or the 40 billion over 2 years will go to members of parliament. And so we are talking about where the money is going, and we're not looking at the process. What I hear is a PNP that is willing to eliminate from the process the participation of residents, the participation of the community membership in the decision-making process. The decision-making process is very clear. It says that it will include members of parliament who are elected representatives, councillors who are elected representatives, and the stakeholders, community groupings, and the broader community participation. That is a process. That is a process that is foolproof. That is at the heart of local government. Why would you want to rid with the program of that process. So it seems as if you would be very fine and good with it if the money was going through the council or to the councillors for the councillors to make the decision. I find the process is at the heart of what local government ought to be. And I really shun any approach that would want to exclude citizens' participation.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for Team JLP. Team PNP, your response to that final social media question.
Quickly, I'm still lost as it relates to the mayor, my councillor colleague, standing there rather, and supporting the councillors not getting a dime to spend in upgrading community roads. But that beat, the people will decide that the JLP is not for local government. But let us look at zoning, the communities development and zoning, green spaces and recreational facility. I must agree with him that you create in the conditions of approval, you would create what is called green spaces, or there should be spaces within the development for recreational activities. There should be spaces within the development for parks. Yes, it's something which we need in our communities, and we realize that where these spaces no longer exist because we do not enforce and make sure that when we give approval for these development, nobody checked to make sure that these things are put in place. So the citizens are shortchanged. Those who spend this money, that large sum of money for these homes, do not have space where their children and themselves can be able to have recreational facilities. So we need to look at the Town and Country Planning Act. It needs to be reviewed. It is now, I think, almost 10 years ago since that act was reviewed. And I think the Town and Country Planning Act will be able to help the municipal corporations, will be able to help in terms of how we expand and how we deal with the word development in our respective town centers. But Minister, 12,000 kilometers of roads, 12,000 kilometers of roads belong to the municipal corporations, not National Works Agency. And again, members, just in responding again to the minister accused us of being ignorant. But let me use a simple analogy. Laws are like the train, and regulation is like the track. So if you don't have the track, the train cannot move, Minister. And you need to implement those regulations so that the train can move. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barneswell, for Team PNP. I want to take a little bit of time to go back over that question, because that last social media question asks specifically, what will you do to bind developers to abide by those rules? And I didn't hear from either side a clear response to that binding aspect. That was the crux. That was the crux of the question, that last social media question. So we go again, and I'll ask the JLP to go first.
I hear my colleague over there talking about the Town and Country Planning Act. I mean, I'm not sure where in council he sits, but there is something called a development order that the developers have to abide by. We also have what we call in some of the municipalities thus far, the local sustainable development plan that tells you where you can develop into what and what you can put in certain areas. Light industrial, commercial, residential, you name it. So there is something in place. What we have to do now is to monitor and regulate so that we can have such plans executed in the different species. I also want to, go ahead. I also want to say something pertaining to light. They are talking about Power Up Jamaica. They have no authority. They have $7 billion outstanding, and we paid that bill, so we can demand electricity, proper service from JPS.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon, for Team JLP. Team PNP, on the issue of binding developers, I wanted to zero in on that aspect of that very important last question from social media.
In order for us to bind and to hold developers accountable, we need to look at strengthening the staff capacity at the municipal corporations. I said it earlier, and I can't say it any plainer. When we approve these development, the municipal corporation has the right to send its enforcement team, the municipal police, to these locations and bring those developers before the court. Minister Mackenzie is known to be knocking down buildings in Kingston. He knows how to get things done. It surprised me that in Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, they didn't learn anything from him. But with the People's National Party Municipal Corporation, we will get it done by enforcing it.
Thank you, Mr. Barneswell, for Team PNP. All right, so we're at the point of closing statements, and I invite Team JLP to make its closing statement.
Fellow Jamaicans, we are at a critical juncture in the transformation of this country. Jamaica, land we love. We stand here committed to a purpose and committed to making local government the best it can be. We represent a team of local government representatives who are dedicated to the betterment and improvement of the quality of lives of our citizens spread across communities across this country. We have a track record, and our track record speaks for itself. We have implemented several programs that have helped local government and have impacted the lives of citizens across this country. As we speak, there are over 220,000 persons who have never had access to clean water that now have access to clean water, and hundreds of thousands more will have access to clean water as the government continues to roll out its pipeline extension projects and projects relating to the distribution network. We have repaired over 2,500 roadways across this country, and another 2,000 roadways to be added under the Sparks program. We have employed over 64,000 young people under the Youth Employment Program. We have constructed over 200 houses under the Social Housing Program, and is geared to construct another over 500 in the coming budget year. We have purchased and hand over to the NSWMA are over 100 trucks. Our campaign is based on...
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for Team JLP. Thank you very much. The last word in the debate goes to the PNP with its closing statement.
It is good when people believe in their leaders, but it is even better when leaders believe in their people. We believe in you, Jamaica, your capacity, your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations. Local government and community development is about a country's most important resource, its people. Despite what the Jamaica Labour Party has tried to present to you tonight, ask yourself, are you seeing and feeling this development they currently boast about? Our parochial road network is at its worst. Our markets are filthy and lack the necessary sanitary conveniences, despite being a major economic hub in most of our communities. In 2024, there are still many communities seeing catchment tanks and trucking of water as their main source of potable water. Your communities are dark and lack streetlights and are a haven for crime and violence. That has also spiraled under this government. Your tax dollars are being used and abused. But time come for change. The People's National Party is dedicated to transforming local government with dedicated and competent representatives and a local authority that is centered around you. Vote for change. Vote for citizen participation, healthy communities, access to critical services, new and innovative thinking, proper garbage collection, and economic development. Vote CHANGE. Vote PNP. Put your X
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
beside the
Thank you,
head.
thank you, thank you. Thank you, Team PNP. In true Jamaica Debates Commission tradition, I invite all debaters to shake hands. You can clap now. All right, this concludes the series of local government debates facilitated by the Jamaica Debates Commission and presented in association with JN Group, Petrojam, the National Democratic Institute, Lasco Chin Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, and Miss Birdie. Thanks for joining us. My name is George Davis. Good night.